G'day guys and welcome to a review for Warwick Farm yesterday the 8th of July. Just a quick shout out to the owners of Mr. McBat that just won the South Grafton Cup. You wouldn't meet a better bunch of blokes, and Damien Lane the trainer, really good effort, really enjoyable to watch them. It's such an excitable bunch of guys win a big race, so well done guys, and hopefully there's more in store. On to yesterday, Warwick Farm, rail was in the true position. Definitely easy to be up there a little bit, but the track played pretty well. I thought the tempos kind of decided patterns more than the track itself, so it wasn't too bad. It definitely was better than it was a couple of weeks ago, where it seemed a little bit bottomless and hard to run on. So it was still difficult to come wide and sustain a run, but all in all, not too bad. First race of the day for the 2-year-olds, and a really fast tempo here, really fast time. Manicure seemed huge odds, starting 20-1 off a failure its first start where nothing went right, and then a second start where it sat outside the leader and gapped the rest of them. Beat the second horse narrowly, who's come out and should have probably won during the week, but beaten narrowly. Kind of amazed that it did start the $21. Brook Road was the other heavily backed runner, and Awesome Pluck, the third place getter, was a little bit soft in betting late, but was probably one of the strongest backed horses. Wild Heart to me is the one that kind of puts my head in a spin over the form. It is lightly raced, so it could definitely have improved. I just thought for it to get within 3/4 of a length, even though it probably had a few more favours than anything else, just puts a doubt in my mind. Otherwise, I think it's quite a sneaky, strong little race. I definitely think Brook Magic should have won the race. It just went a bit quick in front and then might have taken off 100 yards or so too early, and it's probably cost it the race, but it's put in a good effort, and you probably make a case that Awesome Pluck probably should have won as well. We'll see, it gets restrained out of the gate and then supposed to race wide throughout, back in the field, and then make a longer run than probably would have had to. See, it jumps. That's a bad angle. It doesn't. It's not as if it jumped 3 in front like it might seem, but it definitely jumped on turns with them, and that physically restraining it back here and in a sprint races always makes it difficult. Caught wide, no cover, and even though there is only one turn here, it's definitely easier. You see Manicure just sort of checking in behind them, so its job's not too bad, but they are going along at a good click. So it's not a bad effort from Manicure either to pick up from that position, whereas Awesome Pluck is just wide and working the whole way. I'm, one turn, no turns, doesn't matter to me. You're working hard and the horse is inside you here, especially on a fast tempo. Brook Magic kicks clear, looks the winner, and just gets tired late, whereas the other two are probably just the stronger types. Wild Heart, who's had the cart on the back of them, but still had to make a bit of a long run, so an honest effort for fourth. The two horses from the Wally Yard basically look like they've just knocked up this really fast. 1200 was probably against them. Manicure, a good effort to stick its head out on the line, so no knock on any of these runners. If there is one at all, it's probably Wild Heart that it's finished a bit closer than it probably should have. The other three have all had excuses, especially Awesome Pluck and probably Brook Road. And there is excuses for Manicure having to be jagged back early a bit late and costed a bit of momentum, which is difficult in a sprint race. So first three across the line all look to have at least Saturday ability, probably better in time. I'm forgiving Lloyds. I don't know what happened there. I haven't read the steward's report. I probably should have. And Sparky Lad just looked to get really tired. Race 2 and not a race I'm going to spend much time on. Just a really ugly race for mine. You'll see that Noir's well beaten as 5-2 favourite. Philosophy sort of most of every chance, and 13-4 second favourite. Yuma Desert knocks up at 9-2, and Pioneering gets a bit of an average ride and was probably poorly priced at $7.50. It looks like the horses here that just had the momentum up and got into the clear are the ones that won the race. The times averaged, it's an even tempo. It's just a bit of a take your turns, fillies and mares win for mine. No knock on the winner. It's, race wide, come into the race early enough, put them away okay. Ruby Rampart's that wide, no cover. If there's a knock on anyone, it's hard to knock Philosophy, 12 to 14. Maybe No Interest, who was weakest on the line after having probably a little bit softer run than the winner. If you want to knock a horse in the race, it's probably this horse, No Interest. Glenwell's warming up first up. I think Pioneering can still be dangerous going back in trip, sort of 11, 1200. Not sure about Philosophy. Jury's still out on it for mine and can't knock the first two. So letting them go, negative on this one, semi-negative on this one, letting the rest go. Just think these two horses raced too bad to be true. I think they probably, I heard Noir's a chance of going for a spell. Wouldn't surprise me. Definitely wasn't its best effort there yesterday, but again, a race I don't really want to spend too much time on. Race 3, 2400. Super fast tempo. Race marred a little bit with Epsom Hill obviously jarring up or something going astray, and it didn't finish the course. Questions into the ride on collateral from the stewards. Certainly a very cold ride, especially considering the tempo. It just wasn't put into the race at all and looked to nearly go to the race, the line untested. The winner's given the best run in the race, so Go Benny's paces is certainly well up in grade, and El Novio was okay every possible, but first run at 2400 this prep, you can definitely forgive it. So, went a bit far there. Heading to the turn, we'll see Collateral's back last on the fence. Not sure what he's waiting for there. He should have been around the heels of Epsom Hill and trying to track Go Benny and I like into the race. He's missed the boat there, which has probably cost him 3 plus a full head of steam. The horse does take a while to wind up before showing its turn of foot. And you can see it's kind of only just getting through its gears right there, changing leg and getting through its gears on the line. Should have finished much closer. The winner's tradesman-like horse, solid, good horse. It's been ridden perfectly and got the job done. Go Benny's just probably back to Wednesday grades, all he needs to break through. He's definitely a nice enough horse to win in this over this sort of trip. And El Novio is going to be competitive, but a horse that's very difficult to place well for to be a good thing anyway. But it's definitely competitive in most races that it attempts. Race 4, solid tempo, quick time here. Well rated by Adam Hieronymus, got them off the bit and chasing throughout. There was the key to that being that a lot of these were a bit of a risk at the 14, so to really put them to the acid a bit early and then be able to maintain enough to the line to hold a strong margin was the key. So he's put his strength as his number one asset, didn't overdo it like possibly happened last start, but still controlled the race, controlled the tempo and made these horses that were a little bit suspect at a strong 14 feel the pinch nice and early. Cosmic Rain definitely, isn't Cosmic Rain, sorry, it's Cosmic Engine, was definitely a little bit flat, not running second here. It's not the same horse that we saw first and second up. Didn't get through the line. I'd be forgiving him a flat run. Probably you won't see him for a couple of weeks now and he'll come back fresher and better. I didn't mind the effort of La Chica Bella. Obviously nosed out for second and Corey got in a bit of trouble for that, staying out of that, but I thought her effort was solid for a mare racing out of her grade. If she found a 1400 back to fillies and mares, possibly, she could, or fillies even, could find the front there and be very difficult to run down. I really think the key to her is that 14. She definitely looks a little bit one-paced and she was strong enough on the line there despite, chasing quite a fast tempo that if she dropped back a grade and to fillies grade, she'd be a nightmare to beat over a 14 around a tight track. Aquatic was okay, but just kind of the horse had all the favours and the tempo and everything in its favour down the outside without ever looking the winner. So it's probably the one to be. It was a little bit flattered. Cosmic Engine's definitely a horse to forgive, and La Chica Bella, an interesting horse to, if placed correctly next time out. Albeit Sam's back on track. He's an honest horse. That's what you see is what you get there. He can probably get a little bit further, maybe 1550 around Canterbury or whatever, a similar race like that. I'd rather see it at somewhere like Canterbury Rose Hill, Warwick Farm than heading to Randwick, but he'll still be, honest and hard to beat wherever he lobs. Race 5, Highway. D-Day for Suncraze, and nothing went right again for it. I was kind of keen on this horse all through its life, Nix Vendetta, and it's just never really had the right setup. I was a little bit worried about the rider yesterday, and she did a really good job to get it over the line. Probably should have won by a bit further. Every time she's tried to hit it in the straight, she's slowed it up a bit, but she's done a good job to get it there. Obviously, Suncraze just finds a way to get beaten. He did race tired and had a bit one-paced here and had to get a few reminders. He was never in a comfortable spot. We saw and ended up probably in the worst part of the track, but nowhere really else to go, and considering he wasn't travelling well enough to take up a different position, his hands were kind of tied. See here that the winner sort of going through its gears there, and she has to stop and straighten every time she whips it. Probably hands and heels. It wins by a couple of lengths, but it's here nor there. Very, very average race. It's going to be hard to follow a few of these. I thought the horse that was worthy of forgiving was Loves a Hassle, who was caught wide and chasing on that solid tempo. And it was a solid tempo with just an average time. Nix Vendetta was solid. He'll continue to put in that sort of effort. I think he's definitely could sneak a midweek's race, like a metropolitan race. He's definitely up to that level. Suncraze probably just looks like it needs to be reset for mine. It just looks like it's racing a bit tired and grumpy. And Loves a Hassle's the one that I want to be with next time in the right race. May even need another little freshen up as well, but ridden cold, 11-1200, it's a nice horse. Race 6, Sprinters, 1100 metres, faster, sort of like just a solid, even, good tempo that they've run good time. I was ready to shoot Ty Anglin coming to the turn when he didn't get on the back of it, but it turned out he was on the back of the right horse in Spending to Win. He's obviously noticed that in the run, didn't want to get the back off the favourite, and it's worked out exceptionally well, and I really ended up a 10 out of 10 ride, much to my scaredness around the corner. Is that a word? I was about here where I was hoping that it was a little bit earlier than this, actually, where he looked like he could get on the back of Once More a Lady and sort of track into the race without, and he was beaten to the punch by Alluvian. I was a little bit concerned, but he held his nerve on the back of Bowman here, Spending to Win. And all he needed was a touch of luck, which he got. The horse is absolutely flying. I really hope they keep it to these 1,000, 1,100 metre races, because I think he's a black type horse over this sort of trip. I'm a bit worried that they'll catch up with him over further, but he's just nice and strong at the end of his races over these 1,000, 1,100, and he's got that turn of foot off a fast tempo that a lot don't have. I thought this horse's run was really good. Argent Door, just see at the start, we'll go back, it was just, well, you can see where he ended up there. He's just really comes out over his neck and eased out of the race early, where he could have easily sort of kept with the tempo and been somewhere around Kings of Leon. He's given him 3 or 4 start, and now you can see that after he's given that restraint away, he's had to chase. So he's basically chased the whole race. He's sustained a long run, a lot longer run than these horses have had to get to this position, and even looked like a blouser's chance of winning around here when he's probably knocked up second up. I think he's going extra well, and he can win next time out. Spending to Win was a really solid effort, wide no cover throughout on that fast tempo, and will only improve second up. Really good effort. Parlez-vous, a solid effort. Just a little reservation with this horse that it does perform really well fresh, and not sure if it can bounce off it, whereas Argent Door's had the 2 runs, and both with credit, both with merit, and looks like it's ready to go now. Quite a few runners here that have run well, and I think it's a pretty solid form race. Difficult to get to run its normal honest race. Suspenders in behind is probably one to follow too. Just looked like it was maybe a run shy as well. They're knocking up late, so I think it's a good form race. I hope that too many of them don't clash. If they go away from each other and find suitable races, I think they can. A few of them can win, especially Argent Your Kings of Leon can win again for sure, and so can Spending to win straight away. Race 6 and another race not really worth 7, not spending too much time on. Even tempo, average time. Gold Ambition looked the winner. Saw the winning post by the looks of it and just knocked up. I thought Leopari was quite a good effort here to sustain a longer run. I really thought that So Willie had built its revs up and run it down, but it's a good effort from Leopari. Bowman just seems to time these runs perfectly, whereas So Willie's had to sort of come up the inside and then build momentum and get to the outside. Leopari's out there building its revs up, and even here I'm surprised that So Willie hasn't got it. The winner's just home, the leader's just home, and he just doesn't like the side of the winning post, and the others round him up the last little bit. The winner's a specialist miler that'll just keep going around in this sort of grade and be competitive, as will So Willie and Gold Ambitions. Honest is probably not the greatest word, but his efforts are honest. They're very consistent, and he can keep trucking along there. Race 8, worst race of the day, figures wise. Sorry, the last race is the worst race of the day, figures wise. But this is a pretty slow race because they did set quite a quick tempo and knock up. I thought the winner had found its right race. It's that sort of horse. It's an honest horse. Found the right position. Was outside the leader, so I don't want to knock it too much. But it's just battled away. The horse did definitely knock from a negative standpoint of a horse that was perfectly suited and looks weak on the line. Secret Trail. It had every possible hot hits. That's hot hit. He's just never going to win one of these races by far or get beat by far, but he'll be there and he could pop up. So he's not a horse that I want to knock. Your Way takes even further merit out of the race where it was just knocked pillar to post here, rounding the turn. You can see first up it's just getting bunted from inside and out, never balanced and just spat the bit a bit. It can improve. Wouldn't surprise me if they probably sent it back to the trials once before it went to the races again and gave it a couple of weeks break. But it can improve, and I thought the horse that was a huge run, and if it had any luck would have been in the finish, was this horse Last Witness. It's had to cover extra ground turning, come widest, and sustain a run longer. Second up, it just ran out of puff a bit, and it's probably the only horse that I want to be too positive about out of this race. Embley, I believe that is it Embley? Who is that? Back on the inside. Embley made up a lot of ground after being last early, but did save ground. And I'm treating it as a barrier trial. You can see there it's pretty hopelessly held up at one point and probably should have finished a touch closer itself. It's had to pick itself up, pick its momentum back up. So they're the two horses that you could probably follow from a positive standpoint out of a very average race. Icon Rock was a forgive, but probably not a positive. And the rest I'm not too excited about following to any degree, and I definitely just got a little knock on Secret Trail with a second next to its name where it was probably a bit lucky. The last is the worst race of the day, figures-wise. Slowish time. They've gone out. It's an even tempo, but a bit slow time. Not a lot to be learnt here. From a negative standpoint, Nat King Coos definitely had the best run you've ever seen and did look the winner and thought it had won, but it's got beat somehow. Petrosian's held on by a nose, but I thought its ride didn't give it. It's like she's pinged it out, but then as soon as she's pinged it out here, you'll see that she's leading comfortably and nothing's near her. Like she could just bowl along and she just grabs hold of the horse's head here and right now and forcibly slows it down, allowing all these horses behind to catch up for no reason. Like she's not expending any more energy by just bowling along at her own tempo, restraining the horse. Could have cost it the race, but obviously didn't in the end. But it brought a lot more horses into the race, like Nat King Coo, that would have had to do a little bit more chasing. Imanui definitely should have won the race. Not its trip, and the rider did get in trouble for cutting off Know How here, and it's just a little bit stiff, the horse. Non-Pareil, just a honest one batter that won't find it much easier to race to win out either. Francesco taking a while to wind up. I'm forgiving him just because he was second up, as I'm forgiving the winner. It was first up, and it's basically nearly a paid barrier trial here. And Know How is squeezed out. It's going okay. Time at mind. These horses I want to be fairly neutral about. I think the two horses to be quite negative about are Nat King Coo and Philosophy. They're not going to find much better chances. Not Philosophy, Non-Pareil. That you're going to find much better chances. And you can tell me how Nat King Coo's got beat there. I will give up. So, a few things learned from the day. Hopefully, not too many superstars there by the look of it. The first race was nice and solid. The 2-year-olds, RB at Sam. This race was not too bad. The sprint race looks like it's going to produce some good form. Kings of Leon's race, and there's a few negative targets to come out of the last couple of races that look like they probably found their race on Saturday, and whether they got over the line just or just missed out, they're probably good targets to bet around at their next starts. Thanks, guys.